Many people feel as though the John Collins trade has become, quite honestly, the worst trade and the biggest regret of 2023 for any team across the league. The real question is, how realistic is it and how much sense does that actually make? I'm here to go ahead and give you that answer. Thank you for tuning in this video. It's your boy Wraith Hoops. Make sure to like the video, comment, and subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you can catch more content from the Utah Jazz channel. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into this one. Now, for reference, John Collins is understood to be one of the premier bigs in the league, standing at 6'9" and roughly 226 pounds. He was traded to the Utah Jazz in exchange for a future second-round pick and Rudy Gay. In a situation for the Atlanta Hawks, it was actually viewed as a potential salary dump move. And so they were very happy to go ahead and surrender his contract, considering they were due to pay him over $78 million over the next few years of that deal. With that being said, the Utah Jazz and Danny Ainge felt in a sense as though they had fleeced the Atlanta Hawks and believed that not only would his shooting touch return, which it has, but they also believed that he would end up becoming a core piece of this rebuild, which unfortunately, to date, hasn't quite happened. There has been a lot of rumors and trade talks coming from the Utah Jazz front office talking about how they felt as though he is taken too slowly to the offense and defensive schemes that they've been trying to run, and quite honestly, they're just tired of it. Now, if you're John Collins, that puts you in very unpredictable waters because yes, you do have a guaranteed contract, but how many people are still going to want to put up with you and keep you around? The Utah Jazz have been openly shopping him alongside Jordan Clarkson and feeling out for Colin Sexton and Lauri Markkanen even. But the biggest thing is they're looking to unload John Collins not just for the salary point of it and the fact that he just hasn't become the core piece, specifically improving defensively like they hoped he would, but also because they have Taylor Hendricks, who really doesn't have enough time to get minutes in the actual NBA games and has been relegated to the G League because he ended up suffering an injury that kept him out of the Summer League portion of the early season. Now, with him in the G League and being able to have touched the NBA court finally and got some quality minutes, they're looking to find spaces to be able to fill him back into those gaps. But with the entire roster being healthy, there's little to no minutes to go around. With that being said, by unloading John Collins and his contract, not only would you have more money to work with when it comes to re-signing Lauri Markkanen, re-signing Fontecchio, and re-signing Chris Dunn, but it would also allow you to play the highest rated rookie and highest drafted rookie on your roster at the number 9th overall pick when it comes to Taylor Hendricks. Now, this entire season hasn't been all doom and gloom for John Collins, and quite honestly, this season hasn't been the most abysmal thing. The issue is the fact that the numbers that he's putting up aren't quite up to standard to his prime, but not only that, they also leave much to be desired considering the fact that you're paying him $25+ million per season. To be quite honest, you're expecting all-star numbers, and that's not really what you're getting out of him this year. Now, for reference, across the entirety of the season, he's played in 30 games and started in 28 of them. Now, in those matches, he's averaged 28.9 minutes per game, 13.6 points, 7.9 rebounds, 0.7 assists, 0.6 steals, 0.9 blocks, and 1.5 turnovers. Now, he does that on 47.4% shooting from the floor and 37.5% shooting from beyond the arc, which is up from that 29% that he shot last season due to his finger issue that a lot of people felt was going to linger for much longer than it honestly has. Now, he also ends up shooting 78.4% from the free throw line, which, while not great, is decent enough to play. Now, this season, he's had 9 double-doubles, which is almost on par with last season, where he had 11. The bigger issue is, though, when you compare this season's numbers to what he was able to do over the entirety of his career. Now, across his entire career, he's played in 394 regular season games and started in 341 of them. In those games, he's averaged 29.1 minutes per game, averaging 15.7 points, 8 rebounds, 1.4 assists, 0.6 steals, 1 block, 1.4 turnovers, while shooting 54.5% from the field, 35.8% from the three-point line, and 78.3% from the free throw line. With that being said, this has not been the most egregious season that there has ever been seen by an NBA player. And quite honestly, by the expectations of any regular NBA player in today's league, he's doing a pretty decent job at what he does. But the issue is, it's not up to standard for the money that is being paid. Now, with that being said, he's still owed $78.5 million across this season through the summer of 2026, which is problematic because while the Utah Jazz are in a rebuilding stage and aren't looking to contend immediately, they still want to have the flexibility and cap space to go out and make big money moves to get players that could potentially be stars that want to play on their team, or just make upgrades at the wing and point guard positions. And John Collins, quite frankly, poses a slight threat to that issue because you still have to re-sign, as I said earlier, Lauri Markkanen, Chris Dunn, and Simone Fontecchio. Now, while there has been much dismay about his overall performances throughout the entirety of this season, that's not to say that he has played the worst brand of basketball possible. As I said, his three-point percentage did rebound, and while he has become more of a corner specialist that occasionally will take a drive at the rim and make the extra pass to swing the ball, it's just not enough to push the needle for the Utah Jazz, especially when he provides little to no actual rim protection. As I said, he averages roughly a block per game this season, but with that being said, in the games that he started in the stead of Walker Kessler and in the stead of Omer Yurtseven, he just quite frankly offers very little resistance at the rim. This was seen best in a game against Orlando Magic early on this season when they actually lost going down the wire when he was guarding the young budding star in Paolo Banchero, who drove straight down the lane on him. Now, directly, it was not entirely his fault because there was supposed to be some assistance from the weak side help, which did not come. At the same time, John Collins should not have been so easily moved by Banchero despite his high level of intensity, athleticism, and quite frankly, a solid frame for a young player in this league. Now, that's just one of the simpler points to make about the issues with him defensively. Also, it comes down to a lot of intelligence and IQ things that he just seems to not completely understand the system. And because Will Hardy and the Jazz love to run zones and a very different myriad of them, it's important and integral that he's capable of understanding what coverages he's supposed to be running, where his spot is supposed to be on the floor, and how he's supposed to read and react to different things that the opposing offense ends up doing. Now, the fact that he hasn't taken to it yet isn't a sign so much that he's a complete failure or a complete bust. Again, having Rudy Gay in a second-round pick on this particular roster wouldn't do anything except allow Taylor Hendricks to get extra burn. But Taylor Hendricks is going to get burned anyways at some point. The important thing is to understand that if you cannot flip John Collins, he's just going to be eating away at your cap for the next few seasons, and you're going to have to stash him away because while you could keep starting him and just playing him pointless minutes, if it gets you into a situation where he's too much of a negative and actually costs you victories, you're going to have to find a way to get rid of him. With that being said, there's still a couple of weeks left before the trade deadline creeps up on the NBA teams, and so there's going to be a lot more news and a lot more trade packages provided, suggested, and rumored to be in the works regarding John Collins. With that in mind, it's only a matter of time before we find out what comes of John Collins. As always, thanks for tuning in this video. It's been your boy Wraith Hoops. Make sure to like the video, comment your thoughts on John Collins below. Let me know if you think they should give him more time, if he deserves to stay the remainder of the season to prove his worth. And if not, what team do you think should go ahead and try and pull the trigger on John Collins and add him to their staples? With that being said, thanks to Sachi for editing this video. Make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, and become a member to catch the video before anybody else. And as always, good morning, good evening, good night, no matter where you are on the globe watching. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll get you guys in the next one.